Everyone, how are you doing this Thursday? Wonderful day that it is. It is, well, snowing here, has been. Great. I was out shoveling a little earlier. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I tell you, you just got to love the seasons. How is everyone? Hey, Sherry, how are you? Girl with no name. How are you? Favor to you. Troy, Gemma, how are you doing? Marlon, good to see you. Robin, Mark, consciously aware. Isn't that where we all want to be? And hey, shoots for Pa. How you doing? Paula, good to see you. Thanks to all the moderators. Hey, Rocker Chick, how you doing? Good to see you. Well, how is everyone's day going? Let me stop this right quick here. Y'all just go ahead. I'm doing something here, and it'll only take me a second, but I'm back. So how is everyone? Hello, Lois, Warrior Queen, good to see you. Sarah, Brad, man, Starseed, good to see you. Dawn, good to see you, my dear. Lost in space, we all are. Angelfish, hello. Hey, Michigan, how you doing? Blazing River, good to see you. Man, I'll tell you, getting Blazing River on here. That's a thinker. That's a free thinker. Well, we're all free thinkers. Man. So, got a full show. Want to invoke favor upon each and every one of you. We can't speak enough favor over our lives, over our loved ones, over our enemies. Those that like us, those that hate us, those that despise us, those who greet us. We just invoke favor on it. Takes all the nastiness out of it. And when you speak the favored, know that you're speaking as well, that nothing missing, nothing broken be found in that person's life. Most miscommunications is merely hurt feelings that get bruised. Look what's happening to our government. We got two individuals that, well, that's what happens, folks. Imagine if Nancy Pelosi invoked favor upon Donald Trump, and then Donald Trump, in return, invoked favor upon Nancy Pelosi. Wow. I mean, you know, the world would blow up. Dogs and cats would be fornicating together. I mean, it would just be, well, it'd be a great world, wouldn't it? So, yeah. So, hello, Junaid, how are you doing? Lori, how are you doing, my dear? So, yeah, Lit-T, good to see you, and Cherry. So, hey, Brandon, how you doing, buddy? Got your email. I haven't been able to get to it, Brandon, so give me time. So, anyway, you know, we hope to set a different course here, and this will probably be the last day that I'll spend on this subject. In the last 3 days, I, with no exaggeration, have received over 30 emails with a lot of people dealing with residual fear. Many come out of a religious upbringing, and it's amazing how so often those boogeymen that were placed into our souls when we were children by adults, no less, how they become our demons when we grow up. And the point is this: most of this is all make-believe. There are so many of you who are bound by this concept, this construct of a devil, of a Satan, of a Lucifer. And folks, you're going to have to deal with it. If you don't, it will be dealt for you, one way or the other. So stay with me this hour. I've had some pastors who've written me, and I'm speaking to you. And this is something I encourage you to study, answer the questions. If you will just take the time and answer the questions, instead of writing me and telling me that I'm some agent of the devil, the Antichrist, Luciferian. When I read that stuff, I laugh at you. Not at you, but the fact is that you really believe that. I used to, and I get it. I laugh because the only way that I can defend against that is to laugh. Not mockery, just laugh. I've yet to meet any spirit that can resist laughter. None. Some get a little irritated at first, but they all end up wanting to laugh. So let's get into this, folks. Let's start setting ourselves free of this. So let's go here and stay with me. Stay with me. There is something, I'm going to show you how Santa Claus is tied in to Jesus Christ, and how Santa Claus and Jesus Christ are one and the same. And I want to thank the subscriber that emailed me. Thank you, Val. Thank you very much. So let's get right to it, folks. And I mean, y'all carry on the chat room, but for those of you who really want to get yourself free, this is going to be the most riveting 50 minutes of your life. I assure you this. All right, Lucifer is a name that, according to dictionaries of the English language, refer to the devil, Satan. You see, today everything is congealed, morphed, blended. It's very difficult to have people even understand the English language. Or to the planet Venus. Now, there's a stretch for you. You want to talk about extremes. Here you got one that's referring to the devil, Satan, and then you got the other one referring to a planet. Then you got another one that refers to as wisdom, but we'll get into it. When appearing as the morning star. In the first sense, the name is the rendering of a Hebrew word, and I am not, but there's a little thing, of Isaiah 14:12, given the King James Version. But here is the little thing. When you bit the apple, you didn't realize you swallowed this worm, and it's in you now. That word Lucifer is a fraud perpetrated by the very church, Christians, the Vatican, Roman Catholics. Doesn't exist. The fraud, Jerome, in the 5th century, when he was in his cave and the sabbatical in Canaan, thought that, well, as he wrote in his notes, that it just occurred to him that, someone that just sounded like Lucifer, had no foundation, none, and inserted it in there. And then the jackasses, the King James Court, and Sir Francis Bacon, shall we say, who all of you, I as well, you are a devotee of his. He got you, man. Anyway, it's a blatant lie, folks. It's a blatant lie designed to deceive you. No being or creature has ever been called Lucifer. It does not exist. I challenged a person. She left. She unsubscribed. I said, I'll write you $100. I even made it up to $500. I said, you prove to me. You can't use your Bible. You prove to me that this creature exists. Never heard, never do. It does not exist anywhere. Isaiah was altered and changed by Jerome in the early 5th century, as I said. There is no place in the Christian Bible ever naming anything Lucifer. It's just a fact. And go back to the original Latin. You see, people, again, deceived. You think that this freaking King James is the word of God? Wake up. It's anything but. But we'll continue. The name Lucifer is not in the Hebrew, not in the Egyptian or the Greek or any other language or culture. They will make synonymous references, but the fact and the truth be, talk to any linguist, it doesn't exist. Lucifer is not Satan, Satan is not equal to Lucifer. So who is Lucifer? Why alter or forge ancient text? The early church, that's what they did. They were forgers. They altered. They were evil, evil people. Many of us now recognize it, just how evil. Listen, folks, for over 1,200 years, 1,200 years, you had this corporation run by homosexuals, child molesters, fornicators, adulterers. Well, excuse me, they can't get married, so they got the one out on that. That's what it's been ruled by. You don't lay down with dogs and you don't wake up with fleas because they suddenly just jumped on you. Why? Why did they do this? Simple. To enslave, dominate, and control, forced to worship false gods, burn all other writings, and murder innocent people. This is what they did. Murder. You're going to find out how the Christian God is a murderer. I'm going to show it right in the very Bible that you, if you still read the thing, I don't know why you would. How much more human blood is going to be sacrificed on these altars to worship to false gods? When will humanity wake up? Lucifer is a made-up concept by the Christian religion. There is no such angel, creature, or being, period. It was designed to capture your thoughts, make you become fearful of an unseen deity, made-up story that has no foundation in reality. None. None. You get outside the mythos of the superstition of the religion, the dogma, none. I extend an open invitation to anyone who can prove me wrong. Bring solid proof that this creature exists and where it ordered or commanded the death of any human being. Show me. Show me in the Bible. Show me in any book where Lucifer, Satan, ever ordered or commanded another human being to kill another human being. Your Christian God is quite well known for that. Show where this is so as well. Show where it's ever that this angel, Lucifer, attacked God or man. Show me where it's written that Lucifer or Satan attacked a nation. Show me where Lucifer or Satan made a covenant with man. Show me where Lucifer or Satan broke a promise to man. Show me where Lucifer or Satan ever sought to murder a man and demanded a blood sacrifice. I can show you the Hebrew God and the Christian God did every one of these. So who is the church riling against? The very God they say that they serve? Answer the question. Most of you won't, because you can't. It does not exist. It's a made-up story. Nothing of truth in this. Nothing. So that leaves us with Satan. Because Lucifer, he's out. Why did they use this? They did it because they are in the enslavers. They used the story to enslave the minds of 1,000 generations to make it become real. They used us to create it. And it worked. My question, really? Really? Is this what you think this creature looks like that doesn't exist? Really? Come on, you can't be that naive. Are you? I hope not. I really hope not. So anyway, let me get back to where I was at. That's just the first part of this, folks. I know this is hard. I know it is. But if you're ever going to break free, you're going to have to answer the hard questions. And they're not that difficult, folks. Now, we're not stopping. We got another one here ready to go. So let's get on with the foundation of our reality is predicted upon what we are told is real. This begins almost immediately in life and is the core image of self. To shatter the core of self cannot survive. I wrote this. What's a lie? A false statement made with deliberate intent to deceive, an intentional untruth, a falsehood, synonymous with provocation, falsification, something intended or serving to convey a false impression, an imposture, an inaccurate or false statement, a falsehood. The charge or accusation of telling a lie, to speak falsely or utter untruth knowingly, as with intent to deceive, to express what is false, convey a false impression. So what does it mean to deceive? Well, to deceive is to mislead by a false appearance or statement, to delude a person, to be unfaithful, archaic, to mislead or falsely persuade others, to practice deceit. What's an impostor? The actions or practice of opposing fraudulently upon others, deception using an assumed character, identity, or name as by an impostor, an instance or piece of fraudulent imposition, the act or an instance of deceiving others. Tyrant, sovereign or other ruler who uses power oppressively or unjustly. Any person in a position of authority who exercises power oppressively or despotically. That means being demonic. Tyrannical, compulsory, influence, an absolute ruler. A person who governs oppressively, unjustly, arbitrarily, a despot. Any person who exercises authority in a tyrannical manner. Anything that exercises tyrannical influence. A ruler whose authority lacked the sanction of law or custom. A usurper. Well, what's a usurper? To seize and hold a position, office, power, etc., by force or without legal right. This is critical. To use without authority or right, employ wrongfully. To commit forcibly or illegally seizure of an office or power. Extremely important. To seize, take over, or appropriate land or throne or body or spirit without authority. Here's the fact for the folks. The story of Jesus is one that, in fact, the actual story that was told to have happened took place in Egypt 2500 BC. The cult of Bacchus took the story, which we're about to read here, and this is what they made Christianity to be. Your Jesus, your plastic false Jesus. But the way that they took the story is the real crime here. Because there was, in fact, one who may not have walked, but yet lived of the story. The first Christians knew this, and it was well understood. They also believed, and here's the catcher, folks, we are all angels trapped here. I've told you, you are a god. Call me a blasphemer, call me what you are, whatever. But one day, on your death, you will finally realize you are, in fact, a god. They believe they use the term angel. Makes it a whole different story, doesn't it? What if all that you ever knew was a lie? Not Jesus, but before Jesus, way before Jesus. Yeah. The story that today is accepted was a story that was never meant to be real. Neither was the story. It is a fabrication of those who had the most to gain from it. What did Christianity gain? Real estate, political power in every nation, exempt, and they want to make us all subservient to a one world religion. The very thing that they're rile against. You see, they had to use deception, a distortion of history and of the facts that history itself is now bringing to the light of day, cleansing. One is true, the other is a lie. The real biblical Satan is not at all what you think. All the next images are nothing but from the sick thoughts and images of man. None of this exists, but generation after generation of the modern era and Western society and culture believe there is a hell. It's made up, never existed. What you see here is the perversions of men, demented. This is what you see in a split mind, a sick mind, that makes it so impressionable upon the foolish, the ignorant, the superstitious, that they actually believe this. They really believe. They preached on Sunday, preached on Saturday, preached during the week. People are told that this creature can't be defined, just like God can't be defined. All it was designed was to enslave your mind. So, they say, well, Jesus defeated Satan on the cross. Really? I've been in more churches where I swear to you, Satan is the Christ. He is the God because he's ruining everything. Really? Folks, hell, based on what? All these images are of the church that started, get this, 400 AD and later, which has been known now as the Dark Ages of humanity. Really? 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 Come on. Now, this may be more true than any of the other nonsense. So let's ask a few questions. Why is the Satan of the Old Testament different from the New Testament? Doubt me? Let me school you and teach you a little bit about your own religion that apparently you don't. So we only see a couple references, and we've talked about the one in Isaiah. Throw that one out. That was talking about the king of Syria. So we have the make-believe story that was stolen, adapted, plagiarized from the Chaldeans. So you can throw that one out. So you only got basically kind of Job here, right? But now, when we arrive in the New Testament, it's not the same character. This one now has greater power, influence. So much so he's challenging God. Really? Where did Satan attack Israel? Can you please answer that? Where does it say any angel worshiped Satan? And if Satan is evil, how could he stand before a holy, sinless God and carry on conversations? Why no recordings of any Satan worship in the Old Testament? And don't go and tell me, well, you got Baal, you got Marduk. No, 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 no. See, that's the problem. You're putting your butt into a place you have no business putting your butt because you don't know what your butt's talking about. Where is it written Satan was taking over the world? I mean, that would be, to me, I think, a major freaking tenet, right? In the Old Testament, where was Satan taking over the world? Where is that? What book? What verse? Why no other cultures worshiping the Satan? And by the way, the word that they used, Jerome put the capital S on, was always the small s. This meant an adversary. No Satan, guys, gals, no boogeyman. No one waiting for you when you die to take you to hell. Come on, grow up. Where is it written in the Bible that Satan or Lucifer ever commanded or ordered a human being to kill or murder another human being? Show me. Are you beginning to see something here? Because everything that this creature has been accused of is exactly what the Christian God did. The Jewish God, the Hebrew God. The Hebrew God ordered humans to cut infants out of pregnant women and to make sure that their skulls were either broken or their throats slit. Let that sink in. How could Satan, Lucifer, be a god and create anything? Show me where an angel or any angel created anything. How did Satan go from a no player in Old Testament times and now become a world player ruling the planet? Huh? How could Lucifer be stripped of all power by Christ and yet still be more powerful than all the angels? Show me again any angel worshiping Satan or Lucifer. Again, where did Satan become Lucifer and when? It's a lie. Break yourself free from the God spell over your mind. This does not exist. If it exists in any place, it's in the consciousness of man. And that very well may make it true for those who are in it. You are not to be afraid and to be in fear. Fear is all around by design. It's designed to make you fearful, to be afraid. It keeps you in line. Everything here painted in the dark ages. Ignorance, folks, passed on from generation to generation to do but one thing and one thing only, to cause you to be afraid and to force you into a worship of a deity who is the personification of this myth. Wake up. They want you to create this for yourself. They can't do it. You can. The fires of hell, Satan, the enemy of mankind. The only enemy I have never seen this creature ever commit an act of aggression against the human race. Show me. This was a deliberate attempt to enslave all the races. Argue all you wish, but history is speaking a different one than the one that has been told, and history trumps all others. The church elevated Satan to a place that this creature never had to begin with. The church created this perverted reality. It has only brought forth death as it was designed to do. There is, however, a different story. This is the story of Osiris and Dionysus. Osiris, was an Egyptian god who appears in Egyptian tombs approximately 2,500 years before Jesus. Dionysus, or Bacchus, is Osiris, the Greek representation, and that first appeared 1,500 years before the Jesus story. A description of Dionysus agrees almost point by point with the gospel description of Jesus. Herodias, Osiris, Dionysus, and the Jesus myth, all the same. Horus is the Jesus story. The only begotten son, virgin birth, mother Mary, 12 disciples, crucified to death, rose from the dead, star in the east, 3 wise men, son of God, walked on water, raised the dead, names of God. Check it out for yourself. Your New Testament is nothing more than a plagiarism of this story. The nativity of God, Dionysus, look at this. It's the exact same thing in the book of Luke. Exact same thing, folks. Yeah. God the Father, the Virgin Mother and Son predated Christianity well over 1,000 years. The Canaanite virgin goddess, Anat, was worshipped with the Jewish tribal god, Yahweh, Ashtaroth, and in Egypt. Another Semitic goddess from the 2nd millennium BC was named Mary. El-Sun is the morning star, like Jesus is the morning star of Revelations. These myths are found in the Ugaritic text from the 1200 BC. And there's my sources. I know people don't like hearing this. Those still under the God spell will reject this summarily. Why? They have to. They don't have any choice. They're still under the God spell. So when we look at all of these names, born of a virgin, Buddha, Krishna, Odysseus, Genghis Khan, Ra, Romulus. Let's go right down the list, folks. The virgin birth story is nothing new. Been around for a long, long time. Here you go. Talk about your resurrection. 3 days in the tomb, went to hell. It's the Egyptian story. The cult of Bacchus made it up. They incorporated it in this thing called Jesus Christ. The church, the Vatican, Rome. Their God still lives today. Most Christians don't realize what they're worshiping. So let's talk about Gnosticism. I had someone try to tell me I didn't know what I was talking about Gnosticism. Fine. Gnosticism is an ancient belief system whose basic tenet seems to reappear in many different times and cultures. Gnostics hold that this world is essentially a prison for the spirit. The Gnostic forms of Christianity, the creator God of the Bible, is interpreted as an evil demiurge who built the world to trap us. That's your God. All you who are praying, you're praying to the one who's kept you here, who put you here. At the most basic level, the term Gnostic or Gnosticism refers to a belief that is rooted in special knowledge. The term Gnos is where we get the English word knowledge from. Gnosticism, in its broadest sense, is about a religious view based on a claim about knowledge. Dualism, cosmogony, are both aspects. Dualism, we all know what that means. There is both in creation and in man a mix of good and evil that is distinguishable. Hermetics teaches this. It's all the same thing. It's not God. It's not because of devil, not because of Adam bit an apple. None. Now, I won't get into this, but I'm going to leave this up there for those of you who would like to read how this Demiurge came about. Well, I might as well go ahead and read it. I see some. Earlier, the Demiurge, as the symbol of the developing ego, was good, just ignorant of the existence of the unconsciousness, which the Godhead symbolizes. Gnosticism long ago projected this state of affairs into the heavens in the form of the metaphysical drama, ego consciousness appearing as the vain Demiurge, who fancies himself the sole creator of the world, and the self as the highest knowable God, whose emanation is the Demiurge. Indeed, to be ignorant of the unconscious, the Demiurge must symbolize a fully developed ego, for otherwise the ego would not be sufficiently served from the unconscious to be oblivious to it. Now, the Demiurge is evil. Though the Demiurge still symbolizes the ego and not, say, the shadow archetype, the assessment of the material world as evil makes its creator evil too. Where Jung implicitly equates the Demiurge with the devil, von Franz, as quoted, does so explicitly. In Gnosticism, there was Elohim, a high God, who was good and completely spiritual, and who was not involved in creation, which was brought about by the evil Yahweh, whom they interpreted as being a Luciferian, devilish figure. In most Gnostic myths, the Demiurge, if not evil, still opposes God, but in serving the Demiurge from its beginning. You've been lied to, folks. I know it's hard. Gnosticism believes in dualism with clear separation of matter, which is evil, and not created by God and spirit, which is good. Jehovah, a Demiurge, was a mixture of spirit and matter and created this world. There is another story. Folks, it's kind of right there. It's just that we have been taught wrongly. And because we don't deal with this when we come out and we become awake, there is so much excess garbage still in our minds that we begin to form other cults and religions trying to reject the one that we came out of. It sucks. Accusing a pagan of worship Satan is like accusing an atheist of worshiping God. You see, I'm going to put it here. I want to stop here for a second here because I think that this is kind of important to begin to understand where we are in this, and allow me to get back to where the audience is so I can see all of you. I know this is hard. I get it. And for many, it just absolutely burns your ears to think. Again, I question, show me where Satan or Lucifer ever harmed a human being. Show me where it's written. You can't. It doesn't exist. And when people hear someone who comes and tries to present a case very methodically, thoroughly, that challenges the status quo, the church. You know, the Vatican watches my videos. I'm the biggest threat that they have. There's too many of me out there. We're eroding them. The order knows that. They can't stop it. You got men like me who don't care. You can't buy me off. You can't buy me off, scare me off with a threat against my wife or me. Who the hell do you think you are? I laugh at you. You can't harm me. There's no spirit that can harm me. But that's how serious this gets. They don't like it. I expected a lot more thumbs down because, if you're still trapped in this and you still accept it, then all I can say is that you're a sadomasochist. You obviously love punishing yourself. It must get you off. Because that's what I see what most people do every Sunday as they ply into there. It hasn't worked. They've influenced everything of our society. They're in our judges. They're in our politicians. They hold office. And they don't like this message at all. It's hard. Let's continue because we got some more questions that we have to begin to ask ourselves. So here are some things when we talk about truth. You see, either the devil really has perfected the art of diabolically mimicry, or there is a mystery to solve here. Let's review the evidence. Jesus is the Savior of mankind. God made man. The Son of God equals the Father. So is Osiris and Dionysus. Jesus is born of a mortal virgin who, after her death, ascends to heaven and is honored as the divine being. Same thing with Osiris and Dionysus. Jesus is born in a cave on the 25th of December or the 6th of January. By the way, that was done because of the Catholic Church. One pope that was, he knew the story. I've told you what Pope Pius XII has said. Oh, how profitable this myth of Christianity has done for us. I can go, and I left this up here, and I'm going to leave it up here. If you choose to read it, go ahead. But what I have done here is that I took every fact of the story in the Bible and showed you line for line how the cult of Bacchus, that's who did it. I'm sure I'm pissing off some people on this one. None of you would know, but yeah, they're the ones who did it. They're the ones who took the whole story. Oh, by the way, do you know who was a member of the cult of Bacchus? Anyone know who Vespasian is? Titus? Beatrice? Philo? Yeah. But over and over again. So the church father, Tertullian, love what he had to say here. This is how they had to begin to fashion the story. Because you see, they killed the original Christians. The Catholic Church did. Massacred them. Butchered them. Every one of them. They couldn't leave witnesses. They couldn't leave documents. They couldn't leave books. It's a story you haven't heard about the Gnostics, the pagans, running for their lives, as it's been done all the way through history. The Cathars. I can go over races that this religion has mercifully butchered. Genocide. Why? They serve the same God. They serve the same God that commanded genocide. So this is what the church fathers had to say. The devil, whose business is to pervert the truth, Now they're talking about the Christian God here, mimics the exact circumstances of the divine sacraments. He baptizes his believers and promises forgiveness of sins from the sacred font, and thereby initiates them into the religion of Mithras. Thus, he celebrates the oblation of bread and brings in the symbol of the resurrection. Let us therefore acknowledge the craftiness of the devil, who copies certain things of those that be divine. Who the hell are we talking about this thing here? You see, folks, that's all I can say is really, if you repeat a lie often enough, it becomes a religion. You repeat it enough, it then becomes politics. My religion is humanity. Folks, we've got to begin to say, I know I catch a lot of flack for this, and so what? I don't care. Someone has to have the balls enough to come out and just lay it out there. I'm tired of seeing people bound in fear, tired of seeing people dying in fear. I'm tired people of passing on fear to their next generation. When you hear of Luciferians, Satanists, they're playing games. They're playing the same game the Vatican is playing. It's the same thing. They're playing church. It's no different. One day you're going to wake up and realize that neither one exists. People say, well, are you saying there's no God? God does not exist in the construct that man has been able to fashion. Any God that man has fashioned fails. Why? Because all the gods have human traits. That can't be a God. It doesn't even go by the name God. Yeah, I'm seeing the dislike sitting up there, Warrior Princess. Because I'm just telling you, I don't care. Death doesn't frighten me. Threats don't frighten me. Insults don't hurt me. Because the problem is what I see are cowards that do that. They won't come and address my questions, question for question. You know why? Because they ain't got nothing, baby. So the only thing they can resort to is doing what they've done for thousands of years. Threats, accusations. Doesn't work on us anymore. We are strong. We are many. And we are many of one, and we are one of many. It's getting there where we're taking this. It's time we start rising up. Now, I have a special treat for you here. So let me give you, I told you I was going to share with you how Santa Claus and the Christ story are one and the same. Are you ready? May go over on this one. So if I do, bear with me because it's worth it. All right. This is called, and I have the PDF, by the way, of those of you who want that. All right. The greatest story never told. In this blog entry, and I can actually provide the website where this is at as well. And he said, which will be my last, I will provide a small glimpse of the greatest story available to mankind, experienced daily, but unknown to the masses. The same drama unfolds in all major layers of holographic nature, atomically, physically, mentally, spiritually, and on planetary universal level, and on all time frames, second, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, lifetime, and ages. This information is too large to grasp and too complex to put into words. Thus, revelation of a simple, well-known myth may help to understand. If you are searching and reflect on this myth, everything else will follow by itself, and you will be able to climb an amazing wall of ancient knowledge, which has been lost but not forgotten. The myth that I choose reveals occult anatomy and true nature of man, the universal power of mysteries, and the myth itself, and it proves beyond any doubt that we live today in a mental ruins of an ancient knowledge. My good friends, listen to that. We live today in the mental ruins of an ancient knowledge, not even knowing what it is that we lost and why we should have a need to go back and get it. I will then connect this myth to the greatest story never told, which is the greatest story of all ages, because the story itself is not just a story, and it's not just great, but the greatest, because there can be nothing even remotely comparable to it. It is the only story that can be told by humanity and which has been told throughout the ages in thousands of different forms, languages, and styles. This master story is omnipresent in the world today, right in front of our eyes in plain sight, yet it lies concealed in the deepest mysteries, carefully hidden from profanity by wise priests, protecting this information, guarding it against destruction and alterations, preserving it for eternity, making it incorruptible, preserving its divine truth, making it available only for the honest seeker. If you have the right mental toolkit available, you will be able to decode all ancient myths, all fables, all fairy tales, scriptures, and all Hollywood movies. There is a mother of all stories, a final boss of awakening, a high mystical revelation, a key to us all. You ready? Who is this man? Merry Christmas. Yeah, I know. I will now fulfill a promise that I made in this blog earlier this year, when I announced that I will prove scientifically to the world that Santa Claus is real and does exist. Yes, that's right. Santa Claus is real and he does exist. And he does not just exist in myth, in imagination, or in mind. He physically exists and does bring presents to all children. He does live at the North Pole. He is helped by many elves. He has a sleigh that is pulled by 8 reindeer. He does know our wishes, and he does bring toys or coal down the chimney. And he is closely linked to what we today call Christmas. The nice side effect, once you've received the key to this wonderful myth, is that you will automatically solve the dilemma on how to communicate to children in a way that allows them to develop and cultivate the highest way of human understanding. Should we tell our children that Santa is just a myth? After all, finding out that mom and dad really bring the presents can be quite a disappointment for a child. And it doesn't feel right lying to children in the first place, does it? Or should we uphold the myth as long as possible, so as not to disturb the romantic childhood? The answer to this dilemma is that we can do both, because Santa does exist and he doesn't. Both is true. Children love to learn truth, and they openly accept a dual, seemingly paradox answer as the one above because they are still in the right brain, holistic thinking. Your great benefit of studying the below scientific facts will be that you also develop your right brain and start understanding the myth and the scriptures. Are you ready, folks? The highest knowledge of humanity condensed in 12 symbols. Living the ritual of Christmas, Santa Claus today may be compared with the dance seen by a deaf man who does not hear the music to which the motion is timed and who has no clue about the characters who are performing. This is because in our times, the myth has moved too far out of view. The ridiculous eschatology discussions, end times, heaven, hell, death, rebirth, yada, 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 of today are driven by profound lack of proper education. Get that? It is not only that people today don't know, they have also been trained to be unaware about their own ignorance. And when they do become aware, there are some mechanisms in place to make them feel scared. Eschatological rituals, such as Christmas, can be comprehended by means of understanding myth. The myth alone may break mind control. Allow me as I get a sip. Make over a little bit, folks. Stay with me on this one. You're going to love it. You're going to want to tell everybody and get this document in their hands. Let's check and scientifically explain elements of the Santa Claus myth. Are you ready? And this is true for Jesus Christ as well. I bet you didn't expect me to hear that ever out of my mouth. Let's rock and roll, folks. All right. Santa lives at the North Pole. He is sometimes said to live on an island. 8, later 9 reindeer pull his sled. He is surrounded and assisted by numerous elves. He enters the chimney and brings toys or coal. He knows the wishes of all children. He is closely linked to Christmas. To understand this myth, we must look to the inside and get acquainted with the occult, the brain anatomy. Gonna blow your minds. You see this, folks? Let me kind of blow it up so everybody can check it out. So this is the human brain. We have the thalamus, the quadrate, the internal capsule, the globus, the putamen, the colostrum, and the insula, elves, what we would call them. And you see where it actually comes down right here into this part of your brain. Okay. Okay. All right. The red arrows point to Santa Claus. This is Santa Claus in your brain. Oh, you're going to love this. The colostrum, Santa Claus, lives in the human head as part of the cortex, which is at the very top north pole of the body. It is also origin of the term cloister, German Kloster, the place where monks and nuns go to live in a secluded life and study scriptures. It's what we call the white matter, snow. The colostrum is surrounded by white matter, snow in the brain. Directly next to it can be found the external and extreme capsule, which resembles a sled. There it is. You see it? Right there, folks. Get it? All right, let's continue. In the lateral view, the colostrum is located below the insular cortex, the island. You get it? Okay. It is also lateral to the putamen, consideration, Latin pultere, to consider, to think, which is symbolized by the red cap that is worn by Santa Claus. There it is. It's right there, folks. The putamen is connected to the substantia nigra, Latin black substance, coal, which is involved in the process of regulating reward and addictions and appears dark because it contains high levels of neuromelanium. Oh, folks, you're going to see what the Gnostics knew. If Santa brings coals, you have been naughty. A unique feature of the colostrum is that there is a uniformity in the function of its cells. All neurons do the same work. Elves help Santa. Now, let's move deeper and correlate anatomy to astrology and to scripture. As above, so below, as within, so without. The colostrum is sagittally I think I said that, yeah. Sagittarius, anatomically term of location. Compare Sagittarius. Located in the cerebrium, the mythical Santa Claus appears in the night between the horse and the goat, Sagittarius and Capricorn. The night of the rebirth of the sun as it reaches its lowest point on the horizon, the winter solstice. After the night of Christmas, the days start getting longer again. It is the moment of spiritual rebirth of life on earth. Nature does not yet expand visibly, but days are getting longer again. You now know why you see Santa Claus riding a goat. Capricorn is the sea goat or the zagat on this old postcard. Look at that. The Sutra of the Skull, the Sanskrit door of the Brahman, is the external entry point, the chimney of the planetary Santa Claus, Christ, where he enters your head, your rooftop. The internal chimney is the human spine. The colostrum releases the oily substance, Christ, Greek Christos, oil, manna from heaven, which is the secretion, a secret, a mystery that is used as basic material by the pineal gland, Joseph, father of Christ, to secure a yellow substance, honey, to the pingala, electric male energy channel, and the pituitary gland, Mary, mother of Christ, to secrete the white substance, milk, to the ida, the magnetic female energy channel. You see how it all works? The oily substance, the Christos, moves down the spine, the chimney, the river Jordan, to the solar plexus, Bethlehem, house of bread of the Virgin, Virgo. Here, the oil is transformed into a psycho-spiritual seed, the Ichthus, the fish, the Luctus, the Jesus, the Pisces, which then moves, swims through the body, the ocean, the body of water containing saline fluid, human blood, and seawater are chemically nearly identical. The first internal biological process, the miracle, the seed, Jesus, performs is to transform water and oxygen, spirit, breath, the Holy Ghost, into red cell, living blood, wine. During the chemical fusion, the wedding, in the lungs, Canaan, which are connected to the blood circular system, Galilee, the psycho-spiritual seed, sunfish Jesus, later descends to the sacrum, the crossbone, the holy bone, the archetype of the devil, ruled by Saturn, Satan, an acronym of Satan, of Santa, Capricorn, the deepest part of the sun's journey, the abyss, the hell. It's in our heads, folks. It's our brains. You see it? The sacrum, the reddish bone, the archetype of the devil. On the dangerous and difficult way back to the head, the promised land, heaven, Israel, the seed, the chosen one, the Messiah, hero figure, Horus, Krishna, must now try to leave the lower animal body, Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah, defeat animal sexuality desire, Pharaoh, Judas, Scorpius, cross the blood barrier, the Red Sea, and climb the spine, Jacob's ladder, which has 33 vertebrates, the Masonic 33 degrees, to a place in the skull, the Golgotha, where the vagus nerve, the tree of life, the cerebellum, and spine cross each other, the cross. Here the seed is electrically charged, crucified, before it can head further up to the center of the cerebellum, the heaven. And there it is. Jacob's ladder, where angels' electrical impulses move up and down, Jacob's supplanter, the holder of the heel, equals Adam, the Kedem, the Kabbalist, the man, or the zodiac wheel, has his head on the stone, the Petrus, the rock on which Christian churches were found. The Jew, Peter, which is Jupiter, ruler of the age of Pisces. It should now become clear that in Hermetic sense, during Christ's Mass, the Kemet, Christmas, Greek Christos oil, within the body, the internal sun, S-U-N-S-O-N, is reborn, just as the external sun is reborn at the winter solstice. Illumination works through a conscious spiritual transformation from the lower mind, he, Phron, to the higher mind. Are you ready for this? Isus. The human body can be compared to a lamp, a lamb belonging to God, to Gag, the tribes of Aries, arise at the vernal equinox. And when this lamp is ignited by the process described above, exoterically at the vernal equinox, esoterically at Passover, the gray matter, the dead, will be activated, reborn. Thou anointest my head with oil. The wise virgins now trim the wicks of their lamps and fill it with oil before they meet their bridegroom. The seed then remains one moon sign in the skull, the cavern, for 3 days in the tomb. And after 3 days, proceeds upwards, ascends to the penal, compared to winter solstice. Masonry encapsulates the same information as Christianity in the different set of myths and symbols. Hammurabi has thus created a stone for the temple builder, a stone without mark of an animal man, the mark of the beast. If repeated, the older destroyed seed stones can be reactivated, the dead shall rise, and at some stage, the electrical energy of the sacrum, the kundalini, is activated, and the Queen of Seven, Sheba, may rise to the opic thalamus, all-seeing eye, and reactivate the penal, the third eye. The eye becomes single, and the body is full of light. You have thus given 10% consciousness, left brain hemisphere, Mercury, to receive 100% right brain, dark matter of the brain, unconscious, right brain hemisphere, Venus, and are part of the order of Melchizedek, black energy, righteous person. Note how the universe, just like the human brain, contains 90% dark matter, as without, so within. A serpent, mass, represents the Gnostic Christ. You see, folks, I'm not lying to you. Solar energy activated through the miniature sun in the earth center through the human heart. The heart of the brain is the penal. It consists of 7 souls, planets, colors, musical notes, chakras, cities, churches, plus Isus, which equals 8. Now it becomes clear why Santa's sled is pulled by 8 reindeer. The sled is pulled by the Egyptian Olga god. The Vatican shows you this in the form of a white dove. Nothing new under the sun. The Ogada is pulling the capsule of the colostrum. Santa Claus is thus the giver of the most supreme divine gift in the human body, the raw material for the oil in the lamp of the magic genie. I hereby complete Vatican genealogy, the New Testament, and identified Santa Claus as the grandfather of Jesus. There you go, folks. Yeah. I don't know how many are still here, but I know I've gone over a little bit, but I wanted to get that into you. Makes sense, doesn't it? It makes perfect sense, because that's where all religion lives anyway. Isn't it? Left or right side of the hemisphere, folks. Okay. Primitive, I will put the link when I rebroadcast, when I repost this. I'll put the link in for you. I encourage you. These are free downloads. Read them. We're going to be got one here called the Antichrist. It's going to blow you away. You know, folks, I hope that today, that if I've done anything, I've passed on something to you for at least you to think about. I really do. It's my desire to see all of us free of fear, free of the fear of the unknown, and to be free of a bondage that had us under a spell. You know, I don't know all of you, but I sense that we're all connected and we're all sharing this. So, yeah. All right. I'll be on tonight on the Steiger Perspective over on Artist First Network. Tune in. It's 10 o'clock Eastern, and we're going to be discussing more about the Brotherhood. And let's see if we can tip over some more sacred cows, huh? Listen, I thank you for enriching my life. Thank you for being part of the journey here with me. And thank you for making the journey a lot less lonely. It certainly is making it much more adventurous. So I hope this has helped. And we'll see you again tomorrow here. Be good to yourself, folks. Get yourself free. Nothing worse than to be afraid. And don't do that to yourself. All right, folks, we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.